Welcome to the IDB Staff Association Virtual Art Gallery and to the opening of Nadine Renazile. Of the many forms of representation of art in Haiti, painting has always been a major focus of expression for many of the artists of this country, such as Jacqueline Nestor Joseph, Frank Tien, and Philippe Dodard, as well as Jean-Michel Basquiat of Haitian and Puerto Rican descent, who lived and worked in New York during the 80s. The works of Haitian artist Nadine Renazile present another aspect of this multifaceted trajectory of Haitian art through her expressive abstract paintings. Nadine Renazile was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and currently lives and works in New York City. She immigrated to the United States at the age of 13, and before becoming an artist, she was already an established teacher and research librarian. At the age of 53, she took her first painting classes and discovered art as her true life passion. Through her painting practice, she developed her own language, using mixed media to explore the topics of race and cultural identity, strategically using form and color. The paintings are very much her personal reflections, both of her artistic and cultural sense, as well as reflections of her intellectual nature, abstracting these ideas into series of paintings as a personal narrative.
Buenas tardes. Como presidente del Comité de Arte de la Galería de Arte de la Asociación de Empleados del BID, para mí es un enorme placer darles la bienvenida a esta nueva exhibición de la galería. En esta oportunidad tenemos el gran placer de presentar la obra de la artista haitiana Nadine Renazile. Nadine trabaja principalmente el formato abstracto, como van a ver en sus obras, y como contaba Mónica en su presentación, vino a los Estados Unidos de pequeña y transmite, creemos, muy fuertemente en su obra esta experiencia, la experiencia propia del migrante, ¿no? De cómo los temas de identidad, género y del impacto emocional y también físico que supone el desplazamiento propio de las migraciones, que son un tema cada vez más presente en la región y que afectan no solo a la comunidad haitiana, sino a las diversas comunidades en toda la región. En ese sentido, para nosotros es un gran placer poder dar voz a estas expresiones artísticas de nuestro continente, con el convencimiento de que eso es el rol de la galería, sumar voces a esta conversación artística y de alguna forma mostrar la enorme riqueza de la expresión artística de América Latina y el Caribe. La galería, tanto en lo físico como en el espacio virtual, creemos que justamente provee esa capacidad, ese espacio, dar este lugar a nuevas voces para que se integren a la conversación. Esperamos que ustedes también, como visitantes y espectadores, se integren o se sientan integrados a esta conversación.
L'histoire de l'art haïtien remonte au XIXe siècle et a eu une influence considérable sur l'art moderne. Son épanouissement a commencé dans les années 1940 lorsque DeWitt Peters a quitté sa Californie natale pour s'installer à Port-au-Prince en 1943 et a ouvert le Centre d'art en 1944 comme galerie et centre d'enseignement artistique. Ce dernier a eu un succès immédiat et, de par son influence, a permis au monde occidental et aux Haïtiens eux-mêmes de découvrir notre peinture. De laborieux ouvriers, personnels de maison, se sont découverts des talents d'artistes et ont commencé une carrière artistique. Certains qui étaient complètement inconnus sont devenus des exemples extraordinaires du mouvement artistique en Haïti. mouvement qui fut notoirement reconnu et est devenu très populaire. L'art contemporain haïtien est aussi varié que les œuvres produites par ces artistes. C'est en organisant une exposition de peinture haïtienne de la diaspora en 2019 à l'ambassade d'Haïti aux États-Unis d'Amérique que j'ai pris connaissance de l'œuvre de Nadine Renazile que j'admire. C'est donc un plaisir et un honneur de présenter cet excellent talent de notre pays avec cette nouvelle série de peintures à la galerie virtuelle de l'Association des employés de la BID. Je remercie et félicite également Monica, directrice de la galerie, pour sa contribution à la promotion de l'art haïtien à travers l'organisation de cette énième exposition. Nadine, welcome back to DC. Merci.
To unveil or to discover the world of Nadine Renazile is not something easy to express or to explain. This Haitian American artist arrived in the United States at the age of 13. And if I have to describe Nadine's life or Nadine's works, I will say that Nadine is a wanderer. Nadine has always been looking around herself, exploring and learning and also processing different experiences that then later on come out in her own creations, in her own creative process. Nadine Renazile discovered that through painting, she could express a lot of her ideas. She doesn't just portray or use color in her paintings to express her thoughts, but also she wants to leave us with a message from a Black woman who is also deeply concerned about racial and social issues. And she is showing in different series and in different ways through this show that we are presenting in our virtual gallery, that is to find answers, to coexist, and ultimately to share our thoughts and understand each other. I think to describe Nadine's works is very difficult, because not just a painter who works in the world of abstractionism, but she is an artist who not only expresses her ideas through the brush and through color and her palette, but also with textures, letters. Ultimately, these creations become messages for everybody to be seen and considered. I think that through her eyes, we can see different realities. We are going to discuss the works and we are going to reach conclusions. In the meantime, welcome to this exhibition in our virtual gallery, and welcome to the world of Nadine Renazile. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the show.
We're thrilled to bring you Nadine's great work through this platform that promotes the talent and work of Latin American and Caribbean artists in Washington, D.C. Please join us immediately after this for an interview with Nadine Renazile and external curator Alfredo Ratinov.
Thank you very much, dear Monica. It is a great pleasure for me to be here with all of you tonight and to present the virtual visit to the studio of Nadine Renazile. However, I have to confess that this is going to be slightly different from the programs we offered before. Usually I interview the artists, I talk with them, we discuss their works, we discuss ideas and thoughts about the pieces that they're exhibiting in our gallery. And in general, it's an interview format where we convey different ideas about their work and their series or what they're creating, or in the moment they created this show. However, for Nadine's exhibition, it was very different. As I was collecting recordings from videos that I did with her, trying to collect information for my curatorial notes, I watched them over and over, and I thought this would be a great idea to put together and to create a collage of images where Nadine will express herself completely in a different way and knowing how outspoken and how articulated she is as an artist, I thought this could be something really interesting. Because of that, I decided to remove my voice from the video and allow this artist to take the full stage and to bring her thoughts, her passions, her ideas, her works all together in a collage of small videos that ultimately they resume in a way her world and her creative process. I hope you'll enjoy this video as much as I did, because this was a complete different experience for me as a curator, and I'm sure you will love to see it as much as I did. Thank you very much.
I'm actually, as we speak, I'm actually trying to figure out how many years I've been here. 49 years that I've been here. So this country feels like, home. I read somewhere a long, long time ago that when you start burying your people in the country, then it becomes home, you know? So my mother is buried here. My father is buried here. So my brother. So we've got bones in the ground. But yeah, I came to this country when I was 13, not knowing I was going to stay, because the previous year we came to just stay for the summer, and unbeknownst to us, my sisters and I, we ended up, our parents had decided that we would stay, and so I think I had the best of both worlds. Because I came when I was 13, I had already had a full sense of myself as a person. Having grown up in a Black country where, you know, the Black people are poor, the Black people are rich, the Black people are noble, the Black people are ignoble. And so you get a sense of yourself as whole, you know? I've always kept a full identity as a Haitian throughout my life here. Even though I've been here for 49 years, that's a long, long time. I've only been to Haiti twice for very short times. I've never vacationed in Haiti. I've never had really that much of an interest in going back to Haiti because I had a full life here. So I think in a way I still think in French. I still read a lot of French. All the poetry I read is practically, well, not the poetry, but I read a lot in French. I keep that connection, and but because of racism, I am viewed in a very particular way, and so I had to start viewing myself in this country in a particular way. It didn't matter so much what was inside, but what people were saying was on the outside. And so in a way, I had to cater to that, which is a kind of weird thing that you do with your identity, because you think of yourself in a particular way, but other people see you as this other thing. And you have to try to navigate your understanding of self, and then the projection that people have of you. I think when I started painting at 53 years old. I took a class at the Art Student League, and the instructor pretty much the second or third day came around and said, you know, you have your own language, do what you need to do. Because I wasn't really following his instruction, because his instruction, I couldn't get beyond what I wanted to do with the kind of instruction he was giving me. So I decided to do my own thing. And then he came around and said, you have your own language, do it. And within about a week or so of that encounter with my instructor, I remember running to the bathroom because I had so much emotion while I was painting, because I realized at that time that I had discovered my passion. I was 53, you know? And so I decided to throw everything at it. You know, I've never wanted to be a commercial artist. I've never wanted to necessarily make money out of my art. That's never been a thing. Like even when you know, with the cost of having rented a studio for many years, it's never like, oh, you have to produce work to sell so that you can afford the studio. I just afford the studio because I need to have a studio, you know? I mean, I'm looking forward to not having to work so that I can dedicate my time, because I've yet to find the thing that I want to put down. I've tried. I've been fairly successful at some things, but I actually want to have a devotional practice. You know, I want to just do the work without thinking about the commercialization of it, without thinking of shows, without thinking of sales, without thinking. I just want to develop a deep practice and see where it takes me, you know? So I was spending a lot of money going all over Europe. I would decide to travel in the summers based on museums that I wanted to visit. And then around in my early 50s, I went to a financial counselor and I asked him, and he gave me homework. He basically said, you know, I want to know how much you spent the last 2 years, and, you know, this is what I need you to do, whatever. So I went home and I did that, and I came back to him and he was silent for a good while. And then finally he looked up and said, this is not sustainable, the amount of money that you're spending. And all of it was art related. And so art books, art shows, you know, buying art. I was a collector before I started painting. And but more importantly, I was going to a lot of museum shows and Chelsea, a lot of gallery shows. So I think when I started painting, I had a fairly good idea what good art was, you know? And so I was my own worst critic. Because I knew when I was making crap. Because I'd seen really, really good works, you know. I'd gone to the Biennale and in Venice, and that also was very impactful because it showed me what was possible. I was throwing a lot of money into sort of developing an eye, and I think that has served me well, because when I started painting and I didn't have the technique, I had the eye, you know? And so even when an instructor would tell me something was good, I knew it wasn't good enough, you know? I had my own sort of idea of what I needed to do. I just didn't have the wherewithal. I just didn't have the technique. I didn't have the practice yet, you know? I still don't. And that's what I look forward to developing, that the sort of devotional practice of going to your studio just to grow your work, just to go really deeply into the work and see how far you can take it. So I took years of classes at the Art Student League. I took workshops. I had a residency in Paris where I spent several weeks just going to all these museums and looking at paintings and talking about paintings and deciphering, you know, what a painting is. And all of that, I think, was sort of towards developing the eye, you know, developing a sense of what art is. You know, when I make work, I'm always looking, you know, if I'm trying to develop something and I think it needs something, and I'll grab a cardboard and I'll make like a imprint of the cardboard, and then I'm like, yeah, this is gimmicky. This is not okay. This is not gonna get me there. You know, I'm cutting corners here. So like, I know this for myself. Like, I don't need anyone else to tell me that already. You know, I am infinitely aware that I'm not anywhere near where I need to be. But that's the thing of it. I look forward to developing a practice, not to getting there, because I don't think I can ever get there. I studied too late. It was my financial advisor who told me to stop spending. And so I was like, I can't spend a summer not having any art in my life, you know, apart from going to museums. I'll take an art class. And that's that. And my son had previously taken art classes at the league, so I was aware of the league, and the league was 10 minutes walk from my apartment here in Manhattan. And so I just walked in and said, I'll take a class. And they asked what kind of class, and I said abstract art, because that's the thing I was always interested in, looking at all the museums and things. And so I took the first available abstract art class that was there. And I remember I walked in and I had poster paint because I didn't know what kind of paint to buy. And like, I mean, I was. I was doing organic shapes for a long time. The longest time, all kinds of, you know, manipulating organic shapes. That was my thing. And I was driving up with a friend to an art workshop, for a week workshop, and we were having conversation around race and things. And when I got there, I ended up making this huge figure, black, very bold and just incredibly forceful black figure. And I couldn't stop working on it. And no matter what I tried to, when I realized that a figure was emerging, I tried to do something else, but I couldn't. I kept working on this figure. That was the first time I ever made a figure. And everyone kept coming around and saying, oh my God, this is something. And so that was my first. And then I ended up spending the rest of the time making other figures like it. And then ever since then, I've been making these sort of black figures ever since, because I find myself totally entrenched in the idea of blackness. The idea that people only see you one way, you know, and what is that? You know, it's like this dense form, and there's nothing else that people see except for this density. They can't see your inner core. They can't see your humanity. They can't see, you know, it's just you walk into the room and you're black and you nothing else is seen about you, is understood about you. And I felt that was the conversation I was trying to push against. And so I decided to let the figure emerge. And that was that. I do think it is me saying, this is who you think I am. Well, here I am, you know, or something to that effect. And I don't. I mean, my work even from the beginning has never been decorative. It's not something I'm interested in doing. And so I don't make it ugly just to make it ugly. It's just not decorative. The color is very, I have almost like a legend for my colors, you know, like yellow is the sun, the Haitian sun, not just the sun, the Haitian sun. It's a particular kind of yellow, and it's actually behind me there in that painting. It's several mixes of yellows that I put together, and it brings me to this sort of particular color. The blue is the NYPD blue. The pink, there's this Mexican, I call it Mexican pink. It's a kind of, it's a particular pink that I use, and it is not a happy pink, you know, like girl pink. It's a pink that is almost subversive, you know, and I like it. I use it a lot with brown and blues and things like that. So yeah, to me, the color is part of the story that I'm trying to tell. And there are colors that I never use because they're not part of the story. Everything I do, there's writing in there. You almost never see the writing because part of my process, I mean, I'm a librarian. I was trained as a reference librarian. Part of my process is to do research. So before I start a series, I will write about the series. I will write down what I want to, what I'm thinking about. And that becomes a guide as I paint. I keep going back to it, and I may tweak it here and there, but there's an idea that I'm pursuing, you know. So my painting is closely related to my research practice in a way. I can't just paint. I can't just start painting something. You know, I have to sit with it. I have to think about it. I have to read about it. I have to do research about it. And then I've developed a string of ideas about what this thing means to me. And then I start developing it visually. But it always starts with research. It always starts with reading, with trying to find out as much information as possible. And constantly, you know, buying books to try to figure this out, because once I start working on it, I want everything to mean something. The color that I choose, you know, and part of the research is the stuff that I'm writing down in the paint. I'm writing it down. There's a lot of writing in the paint, but then I paint over because I don't want people to know what I'm thinking, because usually they're too angry. They're angry thoughts, you know, like we say in kindergarten, they're inside thoughts. Even if I'm making sort of 3-4 paintings, I write about it. because the painting, so it almost always starts with something I've read, and like I have lists everywhere, painting lists, ideas that I want to do. And so if I'm reading a poem and I'll see a line, it something will happen, and then I'll spend weeks thinking about this thing until I can see several aspects of the idea. Once I can see several aspects of how I can develop this idea, then I know I have a series, because I work in series. And so now I then go into, because I think about it, and then now I was like, I'm thinking, okay, I can do at least 6 paintings in here. Then I have to go back and research the concept, the idea that I had read or whatever. Now I want more information about it, because if I'm going to work on it, at some point I'm going to get stuck. And it's only because I understand the concept well, having done the research, that I can go beyond being stuck. Because you say that I seem very clear about my shapes. It's because I've already had a lot of thinking about what that shape means, right? So it goes back to the research and what I know. It's a kind of knowing. It goes back to knowledge. It's like, I know this concept, this has to do with that, and so if I'm having problem with this shape, then this shape can only go this way, because that's what it would mean. So it goes back. So then I write a series statement. I always write a series statement, because it grounds me. It tells me where I need help. It keeps me in the straight and narrow. Now, when I say that, I always have to explain that doesn't mean that I'm so rigid that I can't deviate from the plan, because sometimes the painting takes you elsewhere from where you start, and I'm pretty open with that. However, when I'm stuck, I can go back to my series statement and say, oh, this is what I meant to do. This is what I'm trying to get at, right? This is where I'm trying to get at. Because sometimes in the moment, you go off on a tangent, you veer off, and then you lose it. Like for me anyway, I lose it because I don't have anything holding me up. I'm not the kind of painter who can start a painting and just one thing leads to another. That happens only after the shape is down, after the idea is down. Then mark making, things like that can, one thing can lead to another. But the idea itself of the painting, that has to be solid.
We hope you enjoy this exhibition. We invite you to join us for an artist talk with Nadine, and we also invite you to follow us on Instagram at IDB SAA Art Gallery. Thank you for joining us tonight.